Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about which characters you should or maybe shouldn't level up from 60 to 70, i.e. play them in World Boss, unlock their potential once you've gotten them to tier 2 level 60, and then eventually feed them biometrics and take them up to level 70. And as you can see from here, I still haven't taken every single character despite how many resources I have. I still have plenty of characters that are not level 70, so you can definitely be picky and choosy with who you take up. But if you have very limited resources, there are definitely characters that will give you much more bang for your buck overall and over a lot of different game modes if you prioritize and focus on getting them to level 70 or 66 or something like that first. So let me first of all explain which game modes you actually do need level 70 characters for, basically above level 60. You don't necessarily need exactly 70 for every single game mode. Some game modes you need like 62 and up, which would just be one enhancement level, but some of them you will need 70s for. So you absolutely do need level 70 characters for squad battle, because once you get to the end of the second phase or the second round and the third round, you will do dramatically less damage if you don't have level 70 characters. However, you don't need level 70 characters for World Boss. You don't need them for World Boss Ultimate. I can go up to level 50, 60, maybe even 70 of World Boss, of any World Boss, almost, with level 60 characters. You definitely get a stat bump and you get a damage bump by going to level 70, but it's not required. However, with the new Shadowland stages, it is absolutely required. So Shadowland is another game mode. Stages 31 to 34 absolutely require you to have characters above level 60. So they're sort of slowly introducing more and more game modes, or at least parts of the game modes, where you do need to start, enhancing characters and bumping up their potential, which is good. We need more of those challenging things. We need more sort of higher progression for characters. You also do need characters above level 60 for timeline battle and alliance conquest. Any kind of PvP game mode, if you're fighting a level 70 and you're level 60, you're going to take less, you're going to do less damage, you're going to take more damage, you're going to hit less, they're going to dodge more. It's just a disaster. So you absolutely need to take characters above level 60. Can level 60 characters make it work? Certain level 60 characters like Jean Grey or Silver Surfer, maybe, but for the most part, you need to go above level 60, and then that's basically it. So you've got, one more time, you got Alliance Conquest, Timeline Battle, Shadowland 31 to 34, and sort of Shadowland above level 60, 65, like stage 60, 65, and then you have GBR and Squad Battle. GBR is another game mode where you cannot bring level 60 characters in. They just do way less damage, and Master Mold and Galactus dodge their attacks and all that stuff. You also need level 70 characters for the All War. Obviously, I'm skipping any content where you need tier 3 characters because that goes without saying. But for the All War, you need to get level 60 Wolverine, and then you need to get level 70 in order to unlock the All War, level 70 Thor, Loki, Spider-Man, and Captain Marvel. So that's going to become very important. Now, Thor, Loki, Spider-Man, and Captain Marvel are not the strongest characters in the game right now. Captain Marvel is very good, but Thor, Loki, and Spidey are not very good. Hopefully they'll get reworks in the next year so that they can justify ranking up those characters to level 70, but you have to keep that in mind if you want to unlock this game mode and farm this game mode, because the reward that you can get every day is not bad. It's a guaranteed 6-star ISO with the possibility to get a fully awakened ISO. This is a very, very good reward for newer players and for free-to-play players, because if you can't get your ISO from anywhere else, this is going to really bump up your daily production of ISO, which is going to allow you to equip a lot more characters with ISO. So that's actually really, really good. So you don't want to ignore that. So now that we know what you do need level 70 characters for, let me try and calculate for you, and I've already pre-calculated for you, spoiler alert, which characters you may want to consider starting off with or focusing on. Now, you don't have to listen to this. This is just my advice. Obviously, you can level 70 whoever you want. Obviously, you have to level 70 characters that you're going to take to tier 3. So I would never give you advice like, oh yeah, you have to take Jean Grey to level 70. Well, no, you don't. If you don't want a tier 3 Jean Grey, you can leave her at 60. If you don't want a tier 3 Crescent or Hulk or Winter Soldier, don't take them to level 70. I'm going to skip or basically ignore almost all of the tier 3 characters in the game, but some of them I will touch on as good options for newer players and progressing players to get to level 70 for other reasons, not for their tier 3. The tier 3 is just an added bonus that some of these characters have already unlocked. So first of all, I would say that you do need to start planning ahead for Shadowland stage 31 to 34, because the first clear rewards there are just so good. The CCF, the Mega Tier 2 ticket, the other tickets that you get, there's just too many good items to pass up to not get those characters to level 70. So of course you can take any Spider character to level 70 or level 66 or something like that, but Spider-Man 2099 is paywall. Arachnite requires lots of crystal investments and months worth of grinding up. Miles Morales is not as strong unless you buy his uniform. But you know what? Spider-Man makes a lot of sense to get to level 70 or at least level 66 or 68, because not only can he do that Spider-Verse stage against the Sinister Six, stage 32, but he also is needed at level 70 for the Chapter 12 All War. So it's kind of nice that they added in that sort of duality and that sort of double value, so you get to double dip as the player and get extra value. Spider-Man, again, not the best character in the game, not even top 20, 25, but you do get that double value there. So he is a decent option to consider. I wouldn't say he's my first option, but he's just a decent option for Shadowlands specifically. He also happens to double dip into the Chapter 12 All War. Another great option, free to play, is not Hulkbuster, is Human Torch. Human Torch is going to be very good for a lot of Shadowlands stages, but he's going to be really, really good for that stage where you either roll Luna Snow or you roll Iceman. He basically one-shots that stage, but you'll need to be over level 60, and he's also just a very good character to fight against Ebony Maw. So that's excellent. You also have Cyclops. Cyclops has the added benefit of being tier 3-able. Now, he's not the best tier 3 in the game, but on top of being a decent tier 3, on top of having a good leadership and a good passive, Cyclops also has the flexibility of being a hero and a villain. So you can use him for different contents, different pieces of content as a buff or as a main DPS unit, main DPS character, as either a hero or a villain in multiple different flavors. He has 2 heroes and 2 villain uniforms. And the good thing for Cyclops is you can use him for, both the Blast villain and the Blast hero, or the Blast male. It might be Blast hero. Days of ABX. You can use him for multiple days of and multiple sort of categories or leagues of squad battle, which you also need level 70s for. And you can use him for Shadowlands. So he's a fantastic character with a lot of... He's a good character with a lot of flexibility. His flexibility is fantastic for how many different game modes he has value for. Also, if you don't like Cyclops, you can go ahead with Kid Omega, but you will need one of them for that Phoenix Force stage if you don't have more expensive units like Colossus, like Namor, unlocked and ranked up. Darkhawk is another fantastic opportunity or option character to get. Just very, very strong for newer players and free to play. He's got all defense down. He's got healing, reflect, iframes. Just very strong. Ronan, another one for Shadowland. Amazing for that mutant blast stage. He just puts in so much work. You got to invest in the uniform, but it's absolutely worth it. And so those are the characters I would recommend specifically for Shadowland. Beyond Shadowland, for squad battle, most of those characters that I mentioned are decent enough for squad battle to get you 800,000 if you build them well enough. But if you want to get more specific, of course, above all else, probably the character that everyone thinks I would recommend first, Sharon Rogers, right? A lot of people are going to get Sharon Rogers to level 70 first. It just makes sense. With this new uniform, she's a powerhouse. She just deals so much damage, healing, crazy buffs, and then crazy AoE. So she is obviously a solid choice for your very first character to get to level 70. A couple of other options, because there are a lot of squad battles. If you look at the restrictions for each of the leagues, from minor to bronze to silver to gold to platinum to vibranium, Captain Marvel hits a lot of those targets, and she double dips like Spider-Man by being one of the requirements for the Chapter 12 All War to unlock that. Another thing for Captain Marvel, unlike a lot of the characters I mentioned, pretty much the first character I'm mentioning actually, she's very good for PvP. She's fallen off a little bit, but she can still get you some wins due to the fact that her 4th skill, Photon Combo, has iframe ignore. And if you face weaker teams, or you don't face, tier 3 Silver Surfers, she can really solo teams. So unlike Hawkeye, Darkhawk, Cyclops, Kid Omega, Human Torch, Spider-Man a little bit, but Captain Marvel is really the first character I'm recommending who has a staple value for PvP, which would be Conquest and Timeline Battle. On top of having value for GBR, because she hits hard and doesn't rely on all defense down, and having value for squad battle and pretty much any Shadowland stage that you throw her at. Universals are generally better for Shadowland most of the time, because they can do any stage for combat blast or speed types, as long as it doesn't require males because she's female, or has energy reflect because she'll die. Next up, we also have Black Widow. Black Widow is another character that's tier 3-able, but even if you don't tier 3 her, I would honestly recommend getting her to level 70. Fantastic speed character. She's going to cover all of those speed days and all of those female speed or hero speed days for squad battle for ABX. She can do GBR as well. She's a little bit more difficult to play but you can get that white snow uniform to also use her in PvP. So she seems to me like sort of the speed version of Captain Marvel. Very, very flexible, very usable for lots of different content, just not required for the Chapter 12 stuff, but otherwise just very, very amazing. Another suggestion that I have for you that's free to play, you don't have to go with Molten Man, but he's just a very good character. Molten Man is strong, he hits hard, he can do GBR, he can do some squad battle as a combat villain. If you have a few more resources and you want to sort of expand your roster a little bit more rapidly, you could also do Taskmaster because he's a good support, and then Colossus. Colossus can double until you have Namor because he actually hits quite hard and he can get you some early points in squad battle. But yeah, Molten Man I think is great, and he's also solid for Shadowland because he can do the villain stages, and he can also do Rumble solo because he has lots of AoE, and he can do those Agent Venom Carnage stages that have extra damage or take extra damage from fire characters. So he's got a lot of flexibility. Rogue is another good option. I'm actually only recommending Rogue. I like her, but she's the only mutant I'm recommending besides Cyclops and Kid Omega. Now, the reason for that is there's just not a lot of good there's not as many good free-to-play mutants as there should be. A lot of them require uniforms to be better, and even with uniforms, they just can't really compete with a lot of, like, even the paywall. You know, a lot of the paywall mutants just aren't that good in the current meta. Gambit's not that good in the current meta for all these game modes that I'm talking about. Iceman, Magic, Jubilee, Juggernaut. So it's sort of like a mutant thing where they're either really good or they're just kind of average. And so Rogue is the free-to-play one that you're also going to need for Jean anyways. Yeah, for Jean. And she's farmable, and then you just got to buy the uniform, and she's just a fantastic character, and she will be needed for the last squad battle, the Vibranium squad battle, because you need to use mutant speed types. So she's one of the only free-to-play options available, and she's by far the best free-to-play option available if you don't count Deadpool as a premium, or if you count him as not as a premium character, even though he's from the Epic Quest. And then the last three characters we have, the first one is Punisher Cosmic Ghost Rider, and I recommend him because he has the flexibility of being a combat type. Now, he's not a very good combat type, but he can double as a combat hero and as a universal villain, and that's a very unique dual sort of combo flexibility for him, which I really like. He's a strong universal villain. He's got lots of damage, and he's got all defense down, and he's very good. He's actually the best in slot for the squad battle for the Vibranium League. Here, I use him. I got about 1.4 million. I can get 1.3 million. I can get a lot higher, but he's good enough to compete with Doctor Doom and other characters. And he's also good for every other, like, lots of other content. And that Shadowland stage, he's also usable there as well. There's lots of Shadowland stages actually as a universal villain. And then we have Captain America as the second last character here. Captain America I suggest because he's a solid tier 2, and he has the combo of being a blast villain or a combat hero, and he's got that iconic Avengers Endgame uniform. So he's got a lot of flexibility to him. He's a decent tier 3 if you want to push him even further, but even just as a level 70 character, he's going to get you a lot of extra points, and he's one of the few very strong blast villains who's not paywall, and he's probably better at tier 2 than Cyclops, so he sort of has that going for him. Last but not least, I know you're going to be surprised by this one, but I'm actually going to recommend Thor. Now, here's the thing. Thor's not very good. He's not bad, but he's not very good. He needs a new uniform. Hopefully, we'll get the Donny Cates Thor run uniform because he looks beautiful, where he basically deletes Galactus, which is really cool. He becomes his herald and then destroys him. Sorry, spoilers. But anyways, Thor double dips, right? So he's available to you as a universal hero male, which Captain Marvel's not male, she's female. So he's available there for you in squad battle, in Shadowland stages. He double dips with the all-war storyline because you need him to get to level 70, and then he can do some work for you in GBR. He's not very good for timeline and conquest like most of the other characters that I've recommended, but he's good for everything else. He's okay for GBR, just not for PvP. The only character that I really cannot at this point recommend for the all-war, which is sort of the painful one, is Loki. Now, I said with Cosmic Ghost Rider that I don't have a universal villain, and I thought to myself, I could just recommend Loki. But Loki is so much worse than Cosmic Ghost Rider. I just want to make that point, okay? Loki's damage is way worse than Cosmic Ghost Rider. He doesn't have all defense down. He doesn't have healing like Cosmic Ghost Rider. Like, Cosmic Ghost Rider is leagues ahead of Loki. Cosmic Ghost Rider is a decent striker for World Boss. Like he's got so many things over Loki. It's not even funny. Really, honestly, at this point, Loki's only value is Chapter 12 All War. So he needs a major upgrade. There are a lot of other characters that need an upgrade before Loki, but yeah, he's sort of he's getting long in the tooth to the point where I think it's cost like 300 crystals to skip Loki being level 70 for the All War campaign. I would strongly consider doing that if you're low on biometrics. And that's sort of what the video is about, because every single character that you want to take up from level 60 to 70, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you a ton of resources, and then it's going to cost you a ton of biometrics. So going ahead and doing this, and then going ahead and doing this is a costly maneuver. And every single character that does it, that's not, double cost native tier 2, is almost 2,500 bios. I repeat, 2,500 bios. So yeah, hopefully this helps you guys. Let me know in the comments down below. Hit me up with your thoughts on characters to level 70 or not. If you have any other additional suggestions for me, I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.